going? Welcome to the Digital Den. I'm your host, Luke Erhardt, and today, special guest, our very own Principal Mr. Phillips. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Luke. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
How was your summer, man?
It's pretty good. It went by fast, though.
A lot of basketball?
Yeah.
Good.
For a month or so.
Yeah.
And I took it off the rest.
Well, good. Well, we're glad we're glad kids are back in the building for sure. We're glad that you all are here.
Yep. So I'm sure you're excited about this school year. So how did the first few days of school go?
They went really well, Luke. I mean, for 3 days, I don't know if we could have asked for a better start, to be honest with you. On day one, all of our kids were here. Our enrollment is up. Quite a few kids enrolled this summer, new students, kids coming from out of county, moving here. You all know the growth of the county. They're moving in as fast as they can. So that was a little bit taxing over the summer, on our registrar, making sure we have kids where they need to be and getting their transcripts from other schools, things of that nature. But first 3 days went according to plan. We put a lot of hard work in this summer to make sure that we are prepared for you all when you come back, and even talking to other schools, talking with Mr. Mercer at the middle school and Miss Jump and Mr. Scott at the elementary schools. I mean, I think K through 12, I think Spencer County Schools got off to an extremely great start last week.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I've noticed each year that I've went here, it seems we could get more and more students. So
sure.
It's good things been running.
So I've been here 5 years, my 6th year, and I think my first year here we had about 770 students. This year we have about 985. So yeah, in 5 or 6 years, it's went up a couple hundred kids. So you're exactly right. Our numbers just keep going up, which is a good thing. It's a good problem to have. We're just running out of space in our building. It's a little tight.
And so now, because we have more people making more staff hires, and I know this year we've added some more people, so
for sure,
if you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we lost a few last year to retirement. We had one retire, so we had to replace Mr. Giles. We hired Gavin Poe. He's a new chemistry and biology teacher here for us. Younger guy, we're really excited to have him. Jumped in over the summer, and the first thing he started talking about is what can he do to help the team, So I know you're an athlete, and a lot of people, we're looking for people that are team players, right? So just hearing that come from him, we're really excited to get him on board. We got Coach Iyer, who is in our math department now. I call him Coach Iyer because he's helping with football. We actually hired him from Whitley County. He was their head football coach down there for a couple of years. Talked with Coach Marksberry actually this morning in car duty, and he was extremely excited. They had their second scrimmage was Friday night. He was talking about how Coach Ayers his planning and his attention to detail has been something that they need in the football program. So he's really excited, and we're really excited. We know that'll just kind of continue in the classroom every day, right? That's just kind of who Coach Ayer is. So got him up here from Whitley County, and then we've got Sergeant Major Miller. You all know him. He was in the building last year. He was our ISD teacher, and he did JROTC. He actually stepped into a social studies role this year. When we suddenly lost Mr. Barnett, early in the summer, we kind of needed a social studies teacher, so I gave him a call. He's retiring from the military, and he just really wants to be with kids. He wants to hang out and work with you all, and so he was thrilled at the opportunity. So we've been working on that, but we're in a good spot staffing wise. All you hear about in education is the lack of teachers and things like that, and to think that we only had to hire 3 and it actually made my summer a little less stressful because I didn't have to hire a whole lot of people, so that was good. But that's a testament to kids, to the way you all are, and so yeah, we're excited. We're excited about the new people that we have.
Yeah, so a lot of new helping hands.
It is for sure.
And I know Louisville's still struggling with that right now.
Yeah,
so
yeah. They are struggling. They need bus drivers, by the way. But they you hear about. I've heard numbers from different districts around us. Openings still at in Shelby and Henry and Oldham. They were hiring all the way up, still hiring to this day, and I feel like right now we're in a pretty good spot. So once again, I think that's just a testament to our families and our kids, and we're fortunate to live in a pretty daggone good community.
Yeah, we definitely do.
For sure.
So what are a few things this year that you're excited about or like looking ahead and forward to?
For sure. Well, first of all, just getting kids back in the building, really excited about that. We got some new initiatives going on this year. We've added an advisory period that I'm really excited about. I've got to get kids bought into that a little bit because it is about the kid. That advisory period is not about me or your teacher. It's about us truly having a few minutes during the day to just build relationships with kids. Not have to worry about teaching standards. We don't have to teach them math. We're not going to teach language arts or social studies or ag, or we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to kind of get to know kids on your all's level, and we're going to start to build relationships so we can check in on attendance with you all, and we can check in on your grades, and just building that time that it's intentional about this is why you're here. There's also more to the educational process than just if you pass or fail and things like that. We want to get to know and support you on all levels. So that's a district-wide push. So that's just kind of a time that I decided to build in this year. It looks a little different. It used to be our enrichment time at lunch. We went from 4 lunches to 3 this year, so that's been a little bit different. But what we did was we pulled that enrichment time out, moved it up earlier in the day, and made it, we call it advisory time now. That moving it earlier in the day too also allows us to get our seniors, because a lot of you all co-op and things like that. So if we did it around lunchtime, a lot of you all are already gone, so it wouldn't allow us to have that time with you all. So that's the one big thing I'm really excited about.
Yeah. I've heard one teacher describe it as basically enrichment on steroids,
Yep.
which is true. And
Yep.
I know, especially in lower grades, I never really got a study hall, so having
Sure.
time to work on stuff
Yep.
would really help me with my grades.
And then
too.
we're going to have those days built in. We're going to do our clubs through that time. We're going to do like SEL programs for social emotional learning. We're going to do small groups with kids. We're going to do college and career day. Every Wednesday is going to be a college and career day. So our new college and career coach is going to push out some things to make sure you all are prepared and kind of know what your all's next steps are in life, and just kind of help with some of that. So it's going to be a little bit of a catch-all. We're kind of building it a little bit as we go.
Yeah.
Got an advisory of a committee of 4 or 6 teachers, 8 teachers maybe, that are going to help me with that. So it's not all me. It's going to fall some on them to kind of help develop those ideals, because at the end of the day, they're the ones in there kind of working with you all on that.
Yeah.
So I want their input on that for sure.
Yeah. And I heard that's when we're going to do pep rallies. And
We are.
stuff too.
Yep. We're going to build that. We're going to build everything that we do. That's going to be our fabric of our school culture right there, right in that block of time. So.
And that'll definitely help kids like me who don't co-op
Yep.
fight against the juniors
sure.
and other classes
Yep.
out there. Not
Well,
just
we
the
love
ones
having
that
you
hate.
here all day, Luke. We love having you all day. If I could keep you all, I would. But I know a lot of kids go out and get those jobs, and they start doing some internships and things like that. But yeah, if we could, we like keeping Luke Erhardt in the building for sure.
So next question is, with our podcast class, this
Yeah.
is a new thing this year.
Yep.
So what are you looking for us to accomplish with this show? I'm sure there's
For sure. So
lot.
look, I came to Coach Howie with this. We started this conversation probably a year, and I'm looking that way because he's sitting over here beside us. But we started this conversation probably a year ago, we actually had a former employee that donated all the equipment about a year ago, and it's just taken us a little while to get it off the ground. But it was built with it. We were like, what do we want? What do we want it to look like? And at the end of the day, we want it to be about putting a spotlight on you all as kids. First of all, we know that this is a class that there's 8 or 10 of you all, 14 of you all, then 2 different class periods that, first of all, it's a kind of you all enjoy doing it, right? So it gives you a class period that you love coming. But we're also going to get the spotlight on all 1,000 kids in this building throughout the school year in some way, shape, or form. We're going to get it on our teachers. We're going to get spotlight on our teachers. I would love to see community members come in and sit down with you all and just talk about, so that we can make that tie to those stakeholders out in the community and get them in our building, let them see what awesome things you all are doing as students. Because we're pretty proud of what we have here. We think we have something special, and we feel like in today's world, this is kind of how you all do things. Kids. I read a stat a while back that, I forget the number of hours that a kid spends on YouTube a day, right? Like, I don't even log into YouTube. I don't even know how to log into that, but that's kind of what you all do. That's your all's world, right? I'm more of a turning on ESPN guy and watch a ball game. That's kind of what I do, but that's when I grew up, that's what we did. So I think it allows us to put spotlight on kids. It allows us to meet you all where you all are at a little bit as far as communicating with you all. I plan on doing a weekly show, just a little sit down, maybe you and I once a week, 5 minutes, doing like a weekly newsletter, kind of digitally, right?
Yeah.
Like, I just got off the phone with Dr. Foster and told him, said, hey, you're up next week. Your questions are next week. So he's going to be here next week. And we're going to push, get him out there. And like I said, I want to get our sports teams. I want to get our academic teams. I want to get every kid recognized through this platform, because I think we could touch a lot of people and get it out there where a lot of people, and put the spotlight on you guys.
Yeah, because you see all the time that, like out here, you see people with like AirPods in.
sure.
I think of the word AirPods.
Yep.
Just listening. Listening. So
I thought about that, and I was actually talking to my wife about this last night. I've been so excited to sit down with you. I was kind of like, hey, I got my big first podcast in the morning, but I think just once again, it's just it's kind of how you all see the world as kids, and I think our job is to meet you there, and that's what we're trying to do with this class. So I told Coach Howie, I said, hey, let's get this thing off the ground and get it running this year. We're going to be kind of building the plane as we fly it, right? Like it's kind of, we're going to be building this class as we go. And, we're going to do an evaluation after 6 or 8 weeks and sit down with you all. Hey, how's it going? What can we add? What's going well? What do we need to take away? So just get your all's input and let you all kind of drive this bus a little bit, So, but yeah, just getting our people out there, teachers, staff, community members, putting a spotlight on what a great place that we have.
Yeah. All right. So next, you talked to the school about the 4 A's that you had. Do you mind taking a few minutes and telling us what it stands for?
For sure, yeah. So I actually stole this idea from our superintendent when we interviewed him. He mentioned the 4 A's, and I was like, man, that's awesome. It just kind of gives kids a go. So research tells us that if a kid gets involved in anything outside of their school day within the school, they're going to be more successful, right? They're going to want to show up. They're going to get up out of bed and get here. They're going to want to stay after and be a part of something bigger than themselves. And that's really what the 4A's are about. So when we say 4A's, we want students involved in something, one of our 4A's outside of school. So we either want them involved in something academically, so some type of academic team, be on the ag team, just something where you're involved in something academically outside of your 7 periods a day, right? If you're not academic, be athletic. Get involved in some type of athletic team, whether it be a basketball player, whether it be a football player, whether it be an archery, whether it be golf, whether it be anything athletically, get involved, right? That gives you something bigger than yourself. Then you start participating in something that's bigger than you, which that's what we want. We want people to be involved in something bigger than them, right? So we've got academics, we've got athletics, then we've got the arts. If you're an art kid, right, make sure get involved. Get involved in band or choir or some type of art with Coach Gardner. Get in the art club, something. If none of those 3 fit you, get involved in our after-school program. We have a great after-school program here. Candy Miller and Ms. Pulliam do a great job with that. Those numbers have been growing. That's just a program that we've had up and running for a couple of years now. Get involved in that after-school program. Just get involved in one of our 4A's.
Yeah. Sounds like a pretty good plan.
For sure.
So now let's move away from the school a little bit and let's get to know Mr. Phillips. So if you don't mind, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, your family, outside of school.
So I've been married. Oh man, you put me on the spot. My wife's gonna get me for this. I think it's been 22 years this past July, I believe. My wife is a school counselor at SCS at Spencer County Elementary School. She's been there her entire career. Got 3 boys. One of them, my oldest one's a teacher at Moore High School. He's a PE teacher at Moore. I've got 2 other ones. I've got Gavin that is in the process right now trying to figure out. He graduated in 2020 from here, trying to figure out what he's going to do. And then last week, my youngest son, Brody, we moved him into the EKU for his freshman year. He graduated from here last year. So got 3 boys. They're doing great things. All 3 of them are they're great kids. Outside of that, my mom and dad live out here. I'm originally not from here. I'm originally a Louisville guy. Grew up in Louisville, but when I met my wife, Ashley, she was from here, and I kind of moved out here. Been out here over 20 years now. So this is my home now. This is no place. And now I've got a lot of my family lives out here. Like I said, my mom and dad. Got aunts and uncles and cousins that have moved out here, and none of us were originally from here. So it's been pretty cool to kind of see us all at certain times try to make that move, and now we all kind of call Spencer County home, But yeah, that's kind of my family. We're just education through and through. I was a little bit late to education. I didn't start teaching. I was almost 30. I actually used to be a rail engineer for Norfolk Southern, and I started coaching. Actually got into coaching middle school baseball with Scott Noel, and just kind of realized right then that I kind of wanted to work with kids and be around kids. I tell everybody all the time, when I left the railroad at 30, I kind of retired. I don't feel like I really work anymore. I can't believe people pay me to come in here and do this. But, that's kind of my family. We're just proud to be from Spencer County, and we're just kind of, my wife and I we're empty nesters now, so we come to all of our events here, and she's right there with me, and we just love, getting to be around the kids and get to see you all excel.
Yeah, because that's how I was. I was from Louisville, and I moved here now. Now I feel like this is home.
Like
for me,
home.
So yeah,
that's good. And I tell you what, Luke, we talked about it earlier. We've got kids coming. It feels like every day, that are coming from not just Louisville, but we get them from Nelson and Shelby and even further. We've got new kids here from Colorado this year. So they're coming. They come from everywhere, and it's our job to just take them in and make them feel like after a while they get acclimated. You know what? It feels like home out here, and I love being a part of that small community. We're one high school. I love being the flagship of the county. I feel like everything we do, our community rallies around us so well. It's because we don't really have a lot here, and I love that. We're a little one-stop-like town, we've managed to stay small in a world that's getting really big. So I do love that for sure.
Yeah, and so you were telling us a little bit about you coaching baseball.
Yep.
Because you coached baseball at the middle school, right?
I did.
And Anderson County?
I did,
I know that about you.
Yep, I was at Anderson. So when I first started teaching, Anderson County is who hired me first. I was over there for 4 years. Great place. Still some of my really good friends are still over there. They've moved on to other places, but I coached high school over there. Coached underneath L.W. Barnes, who's in the Kentucky Hall of Fame. So I got to spend a few years with him, and then was coaching golf here at the high school and tried to help out. And then they made me give all that up when I got into administration. So I think that's why I stay so attached. I'm an athletics guy. I just love it. I think that, it's athletics are about that name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back, So when you get out there, and I just think there's something to be said for playing for your school and there's a lot of pride in that. And you all do as athletes, and you all do really well with representing Spencer County well. So I love it. Yeah, wouldn't change it.
Yeah, because, I mean, you mentioned golf. Is there any courses that you'd recommend?
Yeah, I love to play golf. Played yesterday morning. When I get free time, I like to hit the golf course for sure. But
yeah, with all them kids gone now, you can.
I know it. I got all kinds of time on my hands, don't I? Yeah, I played a lot. I played quite a bit this summer. I did. It's my outlet. I've got some good buddies that I used to work with. Like I said, when I worked at the railroad, those have kind of become my golfing buddies now, and I get to spend a lot of time with them. I usually like to play really early. I'm an early morning guy, so I usually in the summertime I'll tee off at 6 a.m. if they're open, and usually done by 9, and like to get back home because I don't want to take away from a lot of other things I have to do, but I do like to get out. But yeah, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to play. You mentioned courses. I played Valhalla in Louisville. I got the chance a few years ago to play a place called Chicago Golf Club, which is really cool because it's first of all, it was the first 18-hole golf course in America. And it was also one of the 4 founding members of the USGA, so the United States Golf Association. So there's a ton of history there. And when I kind of like that part of golf too. I kind of like where it originated from. My dream one day is to go to Scotland or Ireland and kind of play where golf was originated. But yeah, we a cool thing about Chicago Golf Club when I got to play there. That's actually usually ranked in about the top 10 of the world as far as nicest golf courses in the world, and it's also ranked usually in the top 2 or 3 as one of the hardest tee times to get. So it's really, really exclusive golf club. Went there and heard they turned down Michael Jordan as a member. He wanted to join years ago when he was with the Chicago Bulls.
How can you do that?
Because they like to keep it more about golf. They don't want they worried that he would have brought so much light to the club that they didn't want that. So just interesting. You're like, really? You would have turned down Michael Jordan? You know. So but no, I've been fortunate enough to play some really good courses. But you know what? Golf to me is not about the course. It's about those people that you get to spend that time with. And I cherish that time with my buddies for sure.
I've played golf one time, didn't into.
You would be great at it if you ever took to it. You're an athlete.
I'm pretty good when there's a windmill on the course.
There you go. You will be fine. Maybe you'll pick it up when you get older a little bit.
But I've been hearing from some students that they've been noticing your shoe game.
Yeah,
so
I do like
really
shoes.
Take you as like a sneakerhead.
I do. It blows my mind that some of the shoes you all wear, shoes I used to wear when I was a kid. It's kind of funny how some of that stuff comes back around. Yeah, I used to be an avid Jordan guy. I do like my shoes. My wife, she gets on me now. She doesn't let me buy quite as many as I used to. I've actually shifted that now to more of a golf shoe game. If you talk about a lot of golf shoes, Jordan's really kind of gotten into the golf game, in the shoe business really. So kind of look forward to those drops and releases and trying to figure all that out. It's done differently now. I used to have to go to the store and stand in line and get them, but now you got to be on the app and you got to be on there at 10 o'clock and they drop. So
and they'll come to you.
Yeah, and they ship them right to your door. You don't have to go get them. But yeah, I've got a pretty good. Like I said, it's turned into more of a golf shoe collection now. But I do like my shoes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so let's move away from that and go back to kind of the school and you as a principal.
Yep.
So if you wouldn't mind, tell us about your career path and how you became to being where you're at
so
now.
we touched on that a little bit ago. When I went to college, and this is something a lot of kids could probably need to hear. When I graduated high school, I went to U of L, and I lasted about 18 months, and I was like, man, this isn't for me. It wasn't at the time. I needed to grow up a little bit. So I actually ended up landing a job with Norfolk Southern. They trained me to be a rail engineer, so I got to do all that. Got to met some of my best friends there, right? Those are the guys that I still hang out with, weekly. Keep in touch with those guys. That they're a big part of my life. And but once again, I kind of knew when I first started U of L, I knew I wanted to teach. And if we backtrack to what my wife does, she was an elementary school teacher. So as we were in our mid-20s, I would go to school to help her with things. So that's kind of where it started. Like they do a big fall festival over there. People that are from Spencer County know all about the fall festival. I used to go over there and help with that. And then once again, I got into coaching baseball with Scott Noel. And I was like, man, you know what? I gotta finish up. I gotta go back to school, and because life's too short to say what if, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to make sure. So when my youngest son Brody, when he got in preschool, I decided I would go back to school. So at that point, I knew I had a little bit of free time on my hands where I could do school, and I had a really supportive wife that she took on a lot for me to be able to continue to work a full-time job and go to school. So that allowed me to go back and kind of chase my dreams. So I'll tell everybody, the scariest day of my life, I'm 45 years old, the scariest day I've ever had was walking back on campus at U of L at 29 years old. That's when they didn't have online classes, right? So I had to go back, and I was sitting in classes with 18, 19-year-old kids. I was working night shift because I had bills to pay and had a family to raise and those kind of things. So that to this day is the most frightened I've ever been when walking in there and sitting in there with kids your age at that point. And I felt a little bit out of place, but I knew I had to do it because I knew that's what I wanted to do. So,
yeah, and I know some people who have that fear and don't pursue school because of that. Because I've heard people tell me before that they don't want to be the however old in a college class. They feel awkward.
I used to tell I was always proud. Anytime I'd start a new semester at U of L or whatever, every class I would go into, I always told my wife I was never the oldest person in class. So that always made me feel a little bit better, right? I was 30 or 31, but there was always somebody a little bit older, somebody else trying to do what I was doing, right? They were chasing their dream and getting back to what they wanted to do because life does change, right? And I knew my happiness lied within school buildings. I knew that was what was going to make me happy. People get on me all the time like, Mr. Phillips, you're at work all the time. You're at every, but that's what we enjoy doing, right? I'm here till 3:30 with you all. You all go home. I usually go to the gym, work out, and then I'm back over here. I'll probably be back for soccer tonight if we play, depending on the weather. We got some rain out there right now, so I don't know if we're going to get to play. But my happiness and hobbies are kind of like just enjoying watching you all excel, in the things that you do. It's just kind of what I love doing. So, but yeah, jumped into this when I was 31 in Anderson County. Spent 4 years there. Lived here at the time, and I knew I always wanted to get here. They just didn't have an opening at the time. So I was 4 years in, and I got a call from Mr. Mercer at the middle school. He said, "Hey," I know you live here. He said, and I never met Mr. Mercer up to this point. He was like, "But I hear that you're a community guy, and we'd like to get you in the building here to teach math, and because that's what I taught." And so that summer, I interviewed and got hired on over at the middle school and spent 3 years there, and then decided to do administration because I feel like administration is a lot like coaching, right? Like I feel like it puts you in a supportive role. It puts you in a role to kind of get other people to shine, right? That's kind of what coaching's about. Like you do all these things to make sure kids can go out there and excel and get the limelight. And that's kind of what this is. You get to sit back and watch teachers really get to excel in their jobs and do the things that they want to do. So I love supporting that. So that's kind of how I got into administration and why. And I love it. Wouldn't change it. Love being in the building around kids. I don't know if that'll ever change, but absolutely wouldn't change it for anything right now. That's for sure.
And so you were the assistant principal.
I was.
And my first year here, halfway through, you became principal.
Correct.
You want to say some stuff about the
difference
in that?
Mr. Webb had he was retiring. He could get out. And that's funny how those things work out. So when he started years ago, 27 years ago, he got hired on at Christmas or over winter break at a school. So that's why he got to retire mid-year like that. So it was a little bit tricky. I say it probably helped me in a little bit because they probably didn't get a lot of applicants in mid-year like that when they posted it, but I was grateful to have that opportunity. I felt like I had relationships with kids. My first couple of years here every year is awesome, but my first 2 or 3 years here were really amazing because I had taught all of you all at like the middle school level, and then you all were coming over here, and I knew so many kids by name, and that's huge to us, right? And looking a kid in the eyes and calling them by name, that's huge to me as a principal. I think if we could do that, if every teacher could stand in their doorway and have a 10-second conversation with you and call you by name, I just think that opens up so many doors and so many lines of communication and trust. We try to build trust with you all as kids. I promise you the decisions we're making are the best interest of you all as kids. It's not about me. It's not about the community. It's about what's best for kids. That's how we end all of our meetings. Hey, is that the best decision for kids? And if it is, we're good to go. We've done it, and we're not perfect. We know that. We're going to show back up tomorrow and try to make decisions that are best for you all. That's what we do. So,
and so going along with like making decisions and stuff, what is your leadership style, and what do you think is important for you to be successful as our principal?
Well, I think so two different questions there. My leadership style, I think, is I lean on other people. I don't know if that's truly a style, right? Like I feel like anytime I'm in the room, and I say I love being surrounded by people that are a lot more intelligent than me. I love that. I do, because I really think that's critical, right? I think making sure that you hire the right people and get them in the right places is a big part of. I mean, it's kind of like running a business, right? It kind of is. I mean, that's what we're doing every day. We're running a little bit of a business. We have 1,000 customers that come in every day, and those customers have families, right? You all kids are our customers, and it's our job to serve you all best. So, I rely on input from my teachers. I rely on input from my students, just like we talked about earlier with this podcasting class. After about 9 weeks, we're going to sit down with you all and say, hey, what's working and what's not? What do we need to change? And we're going to let you all drive some of that. I tell my staff all the time, they're the engine that drives the bus. I just get to hold the steering wheel sometimes, right? That's kind of what I love about it. So I think I lean on them. I'll go to teachers all the time. Hey, what do you think about this? What can I, how does this need to look? And then I go back and we might adjust it and change some things, and we don't always agree, and that's okay, right? We're professionals, and but I think at the end of the day, my leadership style would just be I really truly value the input of everybody in the building, and I think that's what makes us pretty strong. So, what was the second part to that question, Luke? I'm forgetting now.
Second part was, and what do you think is important to be successful as
I think staying in touch with you all as kids. I think that's extremely critical. I think understanding how fast the world's evolving nowadays, right? I mean, if you'd have told me as an 18-year-old that, and that's a long time ago now, that's 25 years ago or more, but I mean, you all have the tip of the world, like the world's at the tip of your all's fingers, right? You all can communicate with somebody halfway across the world in a matter of seconds on a phone. So just to know how fast things are evolving and trying to, we've added some classes this year that are just driven off student interest. Podcasting, we've added psychology, we've added marine biology, we've added criminal justice, we added some weightlifting classes. So we're trying, that's just about you all, right? Staying in touch with you all. So I think a principal's only going to be as successful as his kids. If you all are happy, you all are coming in, we're going to set the bar high. We expect high expectations, right? Yeah. I think you're not going to come in here and loaf. You're going to come in here and get done what you need to get done. If I walk into class and your head's down, I might tap you on the shoulder and, sit up. Yeah. Hey, or what's going on? How can I help you? Did you have a late night? So I think just once again, our advisory period is going to help with some of that, getting to know you all on a personal level. So I think as far as being successful, I think, success is defined differently by all kinds of different people. But I think just knowing that if I'm on a student level, I think we'll succeed, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I know we're focused on right now, and also I know you're also looking to the future.
Yep.
And so for this year or even like years down the road, what are your goals for the school and the students here?
Yeah. So our goals, first of all, to set that high standard, set that bar high, and that looks different in every class, right? I think our goals are to continue to meet you all where you're at. Our goal would be, I think I have a personal goal of setting an ACT score that maybe has never been met here. As we get to our younger classmen, first senior like you've already kind of taken that ACT. Not saying you won't take it again, but just having those. So we have those. Those are instructional type goals. So we have instructional goals, and then we have relationship goals, right? But I just feel like long term for us to succeed, trying to make sure that we channel both of those and trying to reach both of those at the same time is critical. Once again, this is where you rely on your staff and you rely on your team of people, and you just you make sure that you set that expectation high for kids. I've come to find out whatever bar we set, kids will do everything in their power to reach it. I do know that. So
yeah, because I know some people are like me, likes challenges here, challenge, go after it. But
yep, that's right.
That's what we're hoping, right?
Exactly right, for sure.
All right, so that's all the questions I got for you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure
man.
Talking to you.
It's good stuff. I can't wait. Like I said, we're going to try to do this once a week. We'll make it much shorter, but I'm really excited with where this is going. I know that, and there's a whole team of people in this room that's going to get this thing going. We got kids everywhere behind the cameras here. So right now the people are just seeing us, but it's going to be a whole team of effort of you all, of kids and Coach Howie trying to get this together. But I love it. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yep. And for those watching, thank you for tuning in to the Digital Den. You can watch us on YouTube, and also we're on Instagram. We're working on some other social medias, but that'll come with time. But we just want to thank you for joining, and for me and Mr. Phillips, signing off of the Digital Den.
That's right. Have a great day.